Okay guys, in this vlog I talk about all the mistakes I think I might have made and things that I would change if I was to fit out my narrowboat again. So let's dive straight in and see what I did. Inevitably, when you design and make a narrowboat over a couple of years, there are going to be ideas that you have, you thought were a good idea at the time, and then as the project progresses, some things you can change as you go along, and some things get pretty set in stone and you have to live with the decisions you made early on in the design of the boat. This is what this video is all about. It is about the decisions I made. Would I change those things again? And there are some things I would change again. We'll dive in with those. So, quite an important aspect of boat life is water and where you're going to store that water, I guess. One of the first things you think about when you're planning your boat is how big your water tank is going to be. I'll admit I had no idea how big was, if that makes sense. So when the people that made my boat said that they were going to give me a stainless steel water tank that was 300 litres, I was like, wow, that sounds like a lot. I have since learned, obviously, 300 litres when you're living on the boat and when you are drinking the water, when you're doing washing up, when you are washing yourself in the shower, and that doesn't actually last that long. So I actually got an auxiliary water tank, which was an extra 120 litres. But even then, that's still only just over 400 litres. And I have since learned that that isn't very much, really. That's definitely something I would change if I was to make my boat again. So quite often this time of year I have the fire on. Sometimes I look at it and I wonder if some of that heat is going to waste. Obviously I boil kettles with it and I cook food on it and it generally heats the boat. There was a decision that I made when I was designing the boat that I have to be honest with you, I slightly regret now. I decided not to get a back boiler. It allows the stove to heat up water, put that water in a radiator system that then could go off around the boat. You could also heat up hot water with it, or you could do both. I made a decision at the time not to do that. I decided that my Webasto heats water up really quickly. The engine isn't quite as efficient, but the advantage of obviously using the engine, you also can charge your batteries. So there are advantages and disadvantages to both. And to be honest with you, in the summer, the warm months, they're perfect. Despite it still being quite windy, it's actually quite a nice sunny day today, so I thought it was another good point to talk about something else I'd probably change if I did my narrowboat again, and that was the amount of solar panels I had. Now, when I was calculating my energy needs, I decided that about 500 watts would be enough solar panels. What I've realised now is you can never really have too much solar panels because you will maximise whatever sun's there the more that you have. Maybe twice as many, so maybe 8 solar panels, just to increase my ability to be able to get more energy into those batteries when the sun is actually out. Cool. The next thing I want to talk about is basically my stove and how I heat things up and how I cook things on the boat. Now, I made a decision to just use my stove, to not install a gas hob, which most other narrowboats have as a primary means of heating things up. Now, I decided not to do this for a couple of reasons. The first being that I just wanted to see if I could do it just with my stove and just with using wood instead of gas. And the second reason was because I was installing everything on my stove myself, although I did the plumbing and the 12-volt electrics myself, gas is a very different business. Gas is a lot more dangerous. Gas is very combustible, as you know, that's the whole point of it. Also, a gas leak. So those two things combined made me decide that I wasn't going to try installing gas myself. Some mornings when you just want to boil a kettle or something like that, it is quite a lot of hassle to start the stove, and I have been known on occasions to maybe use a camping stove. Shh, don't tell anybody. I would probably change that again if I was to make my boat from scratch. I would install a gas hob and probably get a professional to install it. So something else I'd like to talk about is the electrics on my boat. I made a choice that I was going to have no 240 volt electrics on my boat, and it was going to be all 12 volt electrics. The kind of power that you get in your home is 240 volts, but you can have 12 volt electrics, which are obviously a lot lower voltage, because my batteries will be 12 volts, and so I'll just be taking the power from my batteries. It won't need to get converted, and then I'll just be using it on my boat for my lights and my TV and my fridge. Everything's 12 volts. Something I have noticed, which is interesting, is that things like laptops and that, it takes a lot longer to charge than it does on a 240 volt charger. So in terms of work, that sometimes can be a little bit awkward. Sometimes I have to leave my laptop charging and then go and use it and use the battery up. It requires a slightly different approach to doing work on the boat, basically. But that's probably something that I would change. I would probably get an inverter, not a massive one, because I would probably only really need it for my laptop, to be honest with you, but just so I could charge my laptop a little bit quicker. Okay, hope that helps. So what did you guys think? Was that interesting? Did you learn something from that? I hope you did. One other thing that I didn't mention in the earlier little clips was all of the dark wood. I didn't really talk about whether I were to do that differently. It's because I can't really decide. I think I would have more of the Danish oil type wood staining that I did. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thanks as always for supporting the channel. So keep watching the videos and I'll keep making the vlogs, and I'll see you guys again soon. Bye bye.